Hello everyone, welcome back to American Seconds. Today I'm going to tell you about one of the things that I very much missed from Europe when I came here, and that is bread. I love bread. I don't know how you are guys, but I do love bread, and most people in Europe love bread, and so I love good bread. We have very good bread in Europe. You can go virtually in any country in Europe and you will find very nice bread anywhere you go, but especially in Germany. Just walk in a supermarket, regular supermarket, you name it, Kaufland, Aldi, Penny, whatever, Lidl, walk and go to the bread part of the supermarket and you will find so many kinds and types of bread which are good. They're so delicious, they're so good. I came here in US and I went to a supermarket and I couldn't find bread. All that I found there were some sort of sponges which looked very weird. They didn't even look like bread. I tried to smell and taste one, and it's not only the texture, but man, they're kind of sweet, and I don't want sweet, I want bread, and I want it to be good. And anyway, it was a kind of a disappointed experience, and so I thought that I have to do something about it because I need bread. I eat a lot of bread, and so I decided that I am going to bake the best bread in US. And since I decided to do that, and here at American Seconds I share with you my experience here in US of becoming an American, I thought that it would be cool to share with you the way I make bread. And in my opinion, so far, the best bread in America. So let's just go to the kitchen and I'll show you this. I'm aiming 6 loaves of bread. Maybe you have a large family, maybe not. If you have a large family, you will definitely use 6 loaves of bread. If you don't have a large family though, you can still use 6 loaves of bread because guess what? You can put some in the fridge and then later on you can just pull them out and use them. I'll walk you through the entire process, and let's start with the beginning. And the beginning is not the flour, is not the oil, is nothing. The beginning is you take your watch down, you don't want this, and your ring. Yeah, that's going to make a lot of difference afterwards. You don't want to spend time cleaning these guys. You can buy your flour, but I'm not buying my flour. Instead, I'm doing something else. I'm using the grain and I'm using a mill. And so I have fresh flour. I have here some grain. This is going to be noisy, so I'm going to turn the volume all the way down and skip this process because it is noisy. Here, let me walk you through the ingredients that I'm going to use. It's kind of a lot simply because we're going to bake 2 types of bread. So first we have some all-purpose flour, honey, yeast, ground flax, gluten, olive oil, canola oil to spray the pans, salt, oranges, dried cranberries, nuts, walnuts. To start with, I'm going to use this measurement. I have here 4 cups and I'm going to use 2 of these, which is 8 cups. 8 cups of bath warm water. We want to test the temperature of the water here on this side of the wrist. If it feels comfortable, that's what we want. The next step, we add the honey. And we need about half a cup. That's what we need. About half a cup of honey. I don't want sweet bread. That's not the reason why I added this honey here. But honey is actually the food for yeast it will help yeast grow and develop exactly as we want, but this honey will by no means make the bread sweet. And if you will follow me and you will do this experiment, you will taste it and you will see. The next ingredient is the yeast, and what we want to do is to add 3 generous tablespoons of yeast in here. Once the yeast is in, we start adding flour. Here comes a very interesting and important part, because I want to share with you a few secrets of the best American bread. What makes it best? Well, you know, I hate wet bread. I hate heavy wet bread. It needs to be a good texture, a nice bread, soft, good taste. Well, for that, we need to add here gluten. It's easy to remember, the same 3 tablespoons, and together with the gluten, we will add some ground flax. And for this, we will use half a cup of ground flax. We just keep on adding flour. I'm using this bowl because it is thick and it keeps the temperature constant within this mix. Also, I like to use this wooden spoon simply because it doesn't cut the gluten strands as we are mixing the whole thing in. Now the gluten it has to develop, so what we need to do is to stir very, very vigorously the entire mixture here, and this is really important. I know it might be a bit hard on your hands, but take your time and stir it, because this is a very, very important part of the process. Without stirring this mix for the necessary amount of time, the end result is not going to be good. After about 10 minutes of beating, you should end up with something like this. The texture, you see, it's kind of stretchy. It's like a chewing gum, which you can stretch, and you see these lines of stretching just like a chewing gum. And this is where, when the whole thing gets to this point, then you need to stop and to let it rise. About 20 minutes. That's what it was here. And then after this 20 minutes, we end up with this. The next phase now is to add salt and oil. We need 2 tablespoons of salt and half a cup of oil. We begin to stir it again. You see the oil is there inside, and we need a beautiful mix. For that to happen, we will start adding some more flour to it. And we keep on adding flour and stirring all the way up to when the dough gets to the place where it has the texture where we can actually take it off and be able to work with it. When the dough got stiffer a bit, for ending up with the right texture, it is time to add the all-purpose flour. About 2 to 3 cups. That's what I'm adding here. And we continue to stir and stir. Once the dough is at the right texture, we want to take it out from here. For this, I will use some all-purpose flour, sprinkle it down on the table, and then just put the whole thing down. We will put this guy on a side, but not yet in the sink to be washed, because we will still need it. And we are back to the dough, and we start the next very important process, kneading. We want to take enough time to work on it until it gets to the texture that we want, it gets sticky. So every now and then we add some more flour. This process is very important. Don't rush, take your time. The end result is going to pay off. It doesn't have to be for too long. Probably somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. But I will show you the end result in just a moment. After about 5-7 minutes, it feels soft, but it feels compact. Look, you can just take it in your hands and it's a compact dough, very nice, kind of sticky, but it's good. At this moment in time, we need to take it back and put it in the main bowl where we started, and we will let it rest and rise again for a few minutes. While we're waiting for the dough to rise there, we can start preparing what we will need for the other special bread that we're going to bake today. And as I said, I have these 2 oranges, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this very fine shredder and get this outer peel, because this is what we want to use. It doesn't really take too long because we don't want this white thing. It's just the orange zest that we want, because this white thing, if it goes in our mix, it will add some bitterness to it, and of course we don't want it to be bitter, but rather very tasty. And I can assure you, when we are going to have this mixed with the other ingredients, and you will see how the end result is going to be absolutely delicious. After this time of all this time of sitting, our dough is ready to go. It's just about the right size. So what we need to do is to put it back on the table. We want to knead it a little bit, just a little bit. Oh, it has such a nice feeling. It's not so sticky anymore. Still a little bit, but not so much. Not so much. It feels beautiful. It really does. It's flexible. So what we want to do right now is to, as I said, we need it just a little bit, not too much, and then shape it in this round ball. And with this tool, we are going to cut it in half first, and then each in 3 parts. More or less, the 3 parts, should be about the same weight. You just need to feel it in your hand. Like this one, obviously, is heavier than this one. So what we do, we just take a little bit and add here, and so on until we get all 3 of them at about the same weight. Once we have them about the same size, we need to take each of them, knead it again, and try to form this sort of shape, round shape ball. The way to do it is to keep on pressing the bottom side and rolling a bit until you get this round shape. So again, you just need to gather it in here at the bottom and just move it a little bit until you get this ball. So once the shape, we have this 6 beautiful round shapes, we need to prepare pans. We need to spray a little bit of oil in each and every one of them. Now they are ready to receive the bread. And the next step is to prepare it and to form it in the shape for this, guys. Well, the process is quite simple, but I encourage you to follow it and to do exactly as I do, because it's simple, easy to learn, and this process will make sure that inside the bread there are not going to be any empty spaces. So what we do, we will just take it, bang it here, flat it out, and then stretch it out, make the ends kiss, and tuck it in. There we go. The first one is ready. Second one. Kiss and fold. We tuck it in, roll it a little bit, and there we go. Now, we saved the last two for the special bread that I told you about. And now it is time to bring these other ingredients for this special bread, and that is the dried cranberries, orange skin, and the nuts. The way to do it is quite simple. We just need to flat this guy. We're not going to use the same procedure as with the regular bread, but we want it flat out in a sort of a rectangular shape like this. Once we get here, we need to get some cranberries and some nuts. We just need to populate it with plenty of them. And then we need to divide this into, add it here as well. And now we're going to roll. We roll this and we're going to flat it out again. Here, they're going to pop up, but there's no problem. And we're going to roll it back. And yes, this is our special bread, which comes in penultimate. And repeat the procedure. We add a kind of a handful. Oh, I promise this is going to be absolutely delicious. I know, tastes are different. You are going to decide. But according to my tastes, this is the best bread in America. We roll. Just roll it in and then flat again. What you need to do is to roll it the other way around. And once it is rolled the other way around, we end up with the shape, the exact shape that we want for our bread. Once they're in, we need to turn the oven on and set it to 450 start. Then the warm air is going to come, but we need to cover them. We need to cover them and let them sit here for a while. And while they're sitting here, we need to check them every now and then because we don't want them to get dry. If you feel that they get dry, you just need to sprinkle some water. So we're going to have them sit here for a little bit, and then we're going to move to the last part of our process. Now the bread is ready to go in the oven, finally. But before that, we need to do one more thing. I'm going to take this brush and some water because we want these two, since it's a special bread, kind of sweet. We want it to have a beautiful crust outside. So what we'll do for that is just sprinkle a little bit of sugar. And this sugar will give us a nice crust, which will be not only tasteful, but beautiful as well. We're going to brush some water on the rest of the bread as well, because as soon as it is in the oven, it's going to puff up, and we want the outer part of the bread to form a nice crust. Now the bread is ready to go in the oven. The temperature is set at 450, and we're going to have it sit at 450 for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to turn it down to 350. Our bread is ready, and let's look inside. We come out with the first two. Oh, it looks delicious. And then the other four. Very careful when you take it out. Oh, this looks amazing. The final step in our process is to take the bread out and to let it cool, and then it's going to be ready. Several hours have passed and the bread is now cool. We can try to cut a slice and see the end result. Yes, it is soft. The inside is soft, beautiful. Just look at this bread. The crust is just right. Not too hard, not very soft. It's not mushy, it's not spongy. It has a beautiful smell, and well, of course, if you would have been here, I would have offered you to taste it, but I hope that you will try this recipe, and I hope that you will be at least as successful as I was in baking this bread. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will happily answer. I would also like to know how your experience went, so please share your experience with me. I guess that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time here at American Seconds.